नॉइज के बाद आते हैं एक मिनट, ये नॉइज पोल्यूशन कॉज इफेक्ट ऑफ थर्मल पोल्यूशन भी हो गया था।
यस सर।
तो लास्ट पार्ट यूनिट 4 is the vehicular pollution, SO2, NO2 and CO2। these are the things vehicular pollution में आएंगे।
सर ये सब स्टडी मटेरियल एक बार शेयर कर दीजिएगा ना सर।
हाँ,
लिंक
अच्छा
पे
वो
तो
उसमें है ना गूगल कोड में, ठीक है मैं एक बार फिर से शेयर करता हूँ उसमें गूगल कोड आपको उसमें होगा शायद, देखना।
वरना जीमेल पे भेज दीजिएगा सर कि मतलब ठीक है जैसे आपको ठीक लगे तो।
हाँ हाँ ठीक ठीक। जीमेल ठीक है मैं भेजता हूँ, लिंक भेजता हूँ, उसमें होगा सारे। ठीक है, स्क्रीन दिख रहा है ना?
यस सर।
ठीक है, वेहिकुलर पॉल्यूशन में आता है vehicles emissions। So vehicles, so there are different types of vehicles and there are different types of engines are there. So vehicles, mostly we have used different types of fuels, like diesel, petrol, where somehow we are using electric vehicles such as e-battery are there. So mostly vehicles emissions is the emission, the pollutant which can emitted specially from the exhaust of the vehicle. So vehicular emission control is the main part. Actually, most of the air pollutions which is caused by either vehicular pollution or industrial pollutions. So industrial pollutions are the source pollutions, and the source pollutions we have used different types of pollution control technology before emitting the gases to the atmosphere, and which is perhaps mostly control, maybe control with different types of control equipments. But this vehicle emission is the most large emission which cannot be controlled because it is a non-point sources, and there are different routes are there where all of where different types of vehicles are already running. So the non-point sources, the emissions control mechanisms is somehow difficult, and the rules and regulation in India, it is the very much not means obey to every persons, because the different issues are there. So vehicular emission control is the study and the practice of reducing the motor vehicle emissions, particularly used by the motor vehicle, especially internal combustion engine, because the vehicles which use the fuel, mostly fossil fuels are used, mostly 80 to 90% fossil fuels are used as in the form of petroleum, diesel, petrol, and these fossil fuels are uh, born inside the vehicular engine of this vehicle, and this engine is called internal combustion engine. The vehicle is closed, the engine is closed, and with a control supply of the particular ratio of the fuel and air which is given to the engine, and inside the engine the fuel is born, and the heat is produced, and the heat is converted into or the motion to the converter, power is converted to motor, and the vehicle is running. So this engine is called internal combustion engine, and you have heard the word in the physics we mostly studied the Carnot cycle. So Carnot cycle is the particularly useful in the internal combustion engine. So Carnot cycle is the cycle where the work done by this using of this energy, the work done can be takes place, and the it is divided into four parts, and it is in the form of cyclic form, and mostly maximum 50 to 60% is in case of high efficiency engine that can be converted to energy, and rest are emitted to the atmosphere in the form of pollutions and in the form of what is a heat loss. So only 50 to 60% are usable, and others are we are just born away. So not 100% efficient, no energy is 100% efficient. So this is very much a research topic, because any engine is not 100% efficient, particularly except some few not 100% is equal altitude 90%, because some e-vehicles are also coming are there. So control of this vehicular emission is very much important, and transportation sector is also very much essential to you cannot stop to prevent the pollution and cannot stop these vehicles. So emissions of many pollutants have been shown in the variety of negative effects are there. So this public health, internal environment emissions, and the principle of controls, all these things are there. So what happened, the combustion process, we'll first understand what is the combustion process. So gasoline and diesel, gasoline nothing but the petrol, purest form of this petroleum is called gasoline, and this diesel and petrol fuels are mixtures of hydrocarbons, because C and H, these are called hydrocarbons. Again the hydrocarbons are categorized into different categories: olefins, paraffins, and cyclic aromatic, all the different things are there, we will not go in details. But this hydrocarbon, there are mainly divided into two types of hydrocarbon: small chain hydrocarbon to long chain hydrocarbons. So all gaseous form of hydrocarbon which are small chain, and the liquid as medium chain, and the solid hydrocarbons also works as a very long chain. So if the long chain or length of carbon is increases in the hydrocarbon, then what happen, the uh, impurities also increases, because complexity increases, then to burn or to burning of with the internal combustion engine and convert it to the useful energy is increases, and the efficiency is decreases. So cleaner fuel means short chain hydrocarbon, and longer the hydrocarbon the carbon, that means it produces lots of pollutants because while it is burning. So in a perfect engine, see, in a perfect engine means complete combustion takes place, pure oxygen and fuels are mixed, and it will be combustion takes place inside the engine, and 100% it is combustible. So in this is called perfect engine, but actually the perfect engine does not exist in the world. Let's ideally we have assumed that there is a perfect engine where oxygen and air mean the atmospheric air, where oxygen can be directly taken from the atmosphere, and the hydrocarbon which is the um, fossil fuels mainly, they are mixed, and combustion takes place, mainly reaction takes place. And the what is the product of the reaction? Only carbon dioxide and water vapor. If the it is a perfect engine, if there is a perfect engine. So if there is also there is no perfect engine and complete combustion does not take place, so carbon monoxide along with different types of byproducts are also released. So nitrogen in the air would remain unaffected. It really the combustion process cannot be perfect, and automatically engines emit several types of pollutants. See, I have already told the perfect engine no does not exist, because there are some impurities are also there, and complete combustion does not take place. So obviously a high level of pollutants can be emitted while this in the combustion process. So perfect combustions, let's see what is perfect combustion. Fuel, that is hydrocarbon nothing but, and air which is the in the atmosphere oxygen and nitrogen both are present, but the role of nitrogen is nothing, because it does not help in the combustion process. Only oxygen is the fuel mixed with the fuel to produce the carbon dioxide and water. And unaffected means nitrogen is just present in atmosphere, and while inside the engine or outside the atmosphere it does not affect it. So air is go and it is out. So oxygen is combined with the hydrocarbon and form this carbon dioxide. If it is a perfect combustion, that means complete combustion takes place, then it is the byproduct. What is the byproduct? Carbon dioxide and water molecules. So typical engine combustion, that means now come to reality. This perfect engine is the just assumption, but now it is reality. Fuel and air will mix, and some amounts of the hydrocarbons are born, which produce carbon dioxide and water, and some unborn hydrocarbons are there. They are does not born completely, and they are just coming into the gaseous states, are called unborn hydrocarbons. And nitrogen dioxides are NO2 also releases, carbon monoxides are releases, carbon dioxide water are releases. Here there is sulfur dioxide may be releases. Any other different kinds of volatile organic compound present, they are also releases. So various types of pollutants are released in the combustion engine, that is real combustion engine, typical combustion engine which is available in the market or which is used by this vehicles nowadays, because it is not a perfect combustion engine. That's why the takes place. This emissions takes place. So this is the main reason where combustion of the many pollutants takes place, because can an any engine is not a perfect one. So what are the emissions takes place? There are different types of emission. Evaporative emissions. When evaporative emission, due to the heat, the fuel, the petrol, it can also evaporate directly, petrol to gaseous form, liquid to gaseous form. So obviously whether it is liquid or gaseous form, this is hydrocarbons only, and this is also called a pollutant. Then refueling losses, while this filling of the fuel, at that time also some fuels can be losses takes place due to heat or due to spillage or anything. And after engine combustion takes place, the exhaust emissions are mostly byproducts of these combustions of the engines. So these three emission or three losses of the pollutants are coming to the environment due to these vehicles only. So let's discuss one by one what are the different pollutants. So first is called hydrocarbons, because hydrocarbon is the fuel which is unborn and directly evaporate or can be come with the exhaust. So these are called volatile organic carbon mainly. So volatile hydrocarbon. These emissions results when fuel mobile molecules or engine do not burn partially. That means the hydrocarbon is leakage can be takes place, because not 100% efficient. So some leakage also can be directly come from the engine and out from the exhaust. So this is the hydrocarbon which is coming. Then hydrocarbons react in the presence of nitrogen oxides, sunlight, and ground level ozone to form photochemical smoke. Remember this photochemical smoke. So photochemical smoke, how it is formed? This hydrocarbon, that means volatile hydrocarbon, which is present in atmosphere in gaseous form. This volatile hydrocarbon and ground level ozone, which is present in below ground, near the ground, it is in troposphere. And the sunlight, obviously in presence of light is required, and nitrogen oxide, which is also byproduct of this any industrial emission and this emission, which can form different photochemical smoke. For example, it called PAN, peroxyacetyl nitrate. So this is the these hydrocarbon are the main reactant or main things which can be from this photochemical smoke. So ozone initiates this, irritates the eye, damages the lungs and suggestive respiratory problems. And most would spare incredible urban pollutions. A number of exhaust hydrocarbon toxic, while potential cause cancers. Have you ever experienced that while whatever whenever the car is running, in backside a hydrocarbon smell is there. So like it's like diesel smell or petrol smell you can feel. So these are the hydrocarbons or the smell of this exhaust, that is hydrocarbon, due to the hydrocarbons, unborn hydrocarbon we can feel. Second is nitrogen oxides. NOx, not only NO2, it releases NOx. Well, there are different types of NOx, for example, NO, NO2, N2O, all the things. So nitrogen is also, see, there are two types of nitrogens are there. In atmospheric nitrogen, in presence of, because the combustion engine requires oxygen or air, which also takes from the air filter from the atmosphere, and the nitrogen gases present in atmosphere that does not react with this hydrocarbon to produce NOx or oxygen, because these NOx are produced due to these impurities present itself in this hydrocarbon. The fuel impurities produce this NOx, not the atmospheric nitrogen in the atmosphere which is produce NOx. So this under the high pressure and temperature, engine nitrogen and oxygen atoms are reacted to the form of different oxides, procedurally NOx, nitrogen oxides are hydrocarbons present because of the ozone. And because this ozone, the tropospheric ozone, which is the main or oxidative agent, which can be directly formed with combined with the nitrogen present and form this NOx, and it is the main cause of acid rain. Obviously, we know. Then important product, that is byproduct, or it may be called as incomplete due to combustions, because carbon and oxygen both are react to form carbon dioxide. C plus O2, in place of excess oxygen it produce CO2. But when oxygen is less quantity available, because combustion engine is a closed engine, if the air filter is choked or due to maybe any reason, if it does not required or does not excess amount of this oxygen, then no, if excess amount of oxygen is does not available, then in presence of low oxygen, in place of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide is produced. See, C plus O2 produce CO2, plus if oxygen is low, then it's C plus O, CO. So this carbon monoxide is produced in the low presence or the low presence of this oxygen, inavailability of oxygen, it produces carbon monoxides, and it is the highly dangerous carbon compound which can directly react with your bloodstream to replace the oxygen, and it come from the complex form with the blood, and it can severely affect the any organisms, because carbon monoxide is very much reactive with the bloodstream. Next is carbon dioxide. Obviously, if when complete combustion takes place, it is CO2 is formed. So it is perfect combustion, called perfect combustion. In place of excess oxygen, carbon dioxide is also formed, and this carbon dioxide is nothing but a greenhouse gases. Excess CO2 is may causes global warming, greenhouse gases, and increase in the temperature or climate change. This is the responsible for this, and this is the carbon dioxide is also produced mostly in the vehicular emissions. Obviously, industrial emissions are there, but vehicular emissions are also contribute these types of emission pollutants. Then come to next important particular matter pollutant, that is called particulate matter. So in vehicular emission, the black soot and smokes are particles are also produced in the combustion engines due to these incomplete combustions or the hydrocarbon mixture of hydrocarbons. The black nature of smoke which is produced from the exhaust, that is called soot or smoke. So it contains particulate matter also, and this particulate matter health very much negative health to the effect to the health, and including limited respiratory disease. So particulate matter produces large number of respiratory diseases, which is mostly due to this particulate matter. Then sulfur dioxide. The sulfur dioxide is also a byproduct or pollutant produced from this vehicular emission. Generally, this sulfur dioxide is sulfur oxide is SOx, which is does not produce if the we used premium petrol or diesel. That means if we use pure or high quality of fuel in the vehicle engines, because mostly the fossil fuels contain sulfur as impurities. If the quality of the fuel is low, if we are using high quality fuel, then this SOx emission can be reduced somehow. So this basic control to adjust evaporate emission. So there are different control systems are there. See, in vehicular emission, the mostly all pollutant control system that is called catalytic converter, which is the mostly used in every vehicles after this engines exhaust and before the outlets. See here, this is the engine and this exhaust, this is the exhaust, and in between the engine and exhaust there is instrument that is called catalytic converter, which is the mostly control the exhaust of this particular matters. Actually, catalytic converter is nothing but some catalysts are used like rhodium, palladium, all these things are used to neutralize some of this volatile organic carbon or some reduce the high dangerous pollutant to low dangerous pollutant. It does not mean that we control fully the emissions. We only reduce the effect only somehow. Vehicular pollution in India. So we mostly know India is a very developing country, and some there are different levels of people are also present here, low level, middle level to high level. So everyone's dream is to be having a own car and own motorcycle. This is a common thing nowadays, and so there are highly demand of these vehicles in India. So high vehicle density in Indian urban centers, this also creates a huge problem. Older vehicles predominant in the vehicle vintage because we due to RTO rules that there is 15 years, after 15 years we cannot use the vehicles. But who obeys these laws in rural areas or mostly we are using very much older vehicles and the engines are producing high quantity of smokes out in exhaust, and inadequate inspection and maintenance, this is also a main factors for high level of emissions. Predominance of two-stroke two-wheelers. Cheap quality of engines are used because low level people which are having uh, middle level people does not afford the good quality of bike or engine. So two-stroke and two-wheelers are also there are used because which is having engine efficiency is less, which also produce large number of emissions. But nowadays somehow rule regulations are strict, and every two wheeler and four wheeler must have BS6 engine. BS6 engine means that is four stroke engine. So which is increase the efficiency of engines and reduce the emissions. But we cannot stop this emission. Then adulteration of fuel and fuel product. This is the very much one also important things. We are using different adulteration fuel. Fuel is not clean and not high quality of fuel can be used because already the fuel rate or fuel price is so much high. If you are using demanding for high quality of fuel, then the fuel price also increases. So and some corrupt people are also there who mix some adulteration take place in the fuels. So this is the important things which can be damage the engine as well as produce high level of emissions. Improper traffic management and road conditions. These are also one factors. The roads are also not very well or good and traffic is very poor here. So high levels of pollutant and traffic interactions. This also takes place because in traffic signals, huge jam is also there, and all vehicles are running at that time. The people sir cannot stop at that point because traffic. Then we must stop the vehicles, but all people are just ignite the engine all the times. So it also causes excessively unnecessary pollutions. Then absence of effective mass rapid transport system intra-city railway network due to the increase in population, increase in demand in vehicle, increase in transportation system. Also, main cause of this air pollution in India. High population adjust in the urban center. This is also due to the main. There are some important factor of vehicle pollution problems in India, which is important questions for your exam. These are the different pollutant, then pollutant causes of pollution, and important vehicular problems in India. Then come to the control technology. So how we can reduce this pollution? We cannot stop this pollution. We cannot stop this traffic. We cannot stop the vehicles. But we certain practices are there which can be maybe useful to reduce the or lower the level of the pollution as it is. Because you can small effort also may change it, take a big changes. So small effects are there, small control techniques and small what you call that is behavior or small practices that may be reduce the emissions. So first thing is air to fuel ratio. This is very much important. As we know, the oxygen and this hydrocarbon mix to form carbon dioxide. If it is complete combustion takes place, but when there is insufficient amount of oxygen is available, no proper oxygen is available to the engine, then in place of CO2 it is produced CO. So this oil to fuel ratio, this is a very most important, and which is also reduce this carbon monoxide particularly. Air to fuel ratio is the important engine variable to control the exhaust. Linear mixture produce hydrocarbon and CO but increase NOx. This is two things are there. Linear mixture reduces hydrocarbon and CO. That means linear mixture means if the oxygen quantity is high, if the oxygen quantity is high, then hydrocarbon and carbon monoxide are reduced, but at the same time NOx is increased. And richer mixture increases hydrocarbon and reduces NOx. That means if oxygen is low, then what happen? Hydrocarbon is increases, but or oxygen, NOx is reduces. So we have to balance these things, both hydrocarbon, oxygen, hydrocarbon and carbon monoxide and NOx. So exhaust gases. So there are see here hydrocarbon and coil increases when there is riches. That means the oxygen is less, and linear mean the oxygen value is high. See in this graph, we can also see if the percentage of carbon monoxide in x-axis and air to fuel ratio in x-axis and percentage of carbon monoxide in y-axis, and in the right side it is the NOx concentration. So first is dotted line in says that at a particular increase in the air to fuel ratio, this NO or NOx increases after a particular time, then it is decreases. So similarly, the carbon monoxide concentration is high, the fuel ratio is low. See here is 10, it is high, but after some times it is also reduces. So at the three graphs are intersect at a middle point. So at the particular air to fuel ratio, there is a minimum emissions of these three: carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and this carbon nitrogen dioxide, all these things. So this particular fuel and air to fuel ratio should be maintained by adjusting the engine knobs or engine in different valves, so that can be reduces these emissions. Second method is catalytic converters. Obviously we are using this catalytic converter to check the emissions or hydrocarbon or different gases emissions. So it absorbs these things or it neutralizes these things, because if CO is output of this engine, and in catalytic converter you can convert CO to CO2, and hydrocarbon can be converted to also CO and H2O. The catalytic converter work is mainly to reduce the effect of the high demanding pollutant to the less damaging pollutant. This is the only things the work of the catalytic converter. Catalytic converter is the device placed in the exhaust pipe which converts hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide and NOx to less harmful gases due to the application of some platinum, palladium and rhodium. See, this is the special rare earth element, platinum, palladium and rhodium, which are in the catalytic converter mostly, and which are heavily demanding. So some thieves, they are also, due to the high price of this catalytic converter, they are theft these things. So reduces emissions, increasing fuel efficiency. Third thing is PUC emission testing. Every motor vehicles have a mandatory the traffic and this road transport RTO have the mandatory to check the emission even in the every 6 months. That is called pollution under control PUC checking to check whether the emission is in the level or it may exist by this particular type of vehicles. So some state government or some central government have made some rule under 11527 Central Motor Vehicle Rule 1989. Under this vehicle rule, motor vehicle has required to carry PUC certificate by agency authorized by the state government. There are some agencies are there. We can check the every 6 months the PUC certificate is given, and we have carry the PUC certificate along with our motor vehicle. Measurement of emission from the petrol vehicle is done by the gas analyzer. If you have ever been done by this PUC, किया होगा आपने एक लंबा सा रॉड होगा पीछे साइलेंसर में घुसा देता है और उसमें मॉनिटर में चेक करता है कौन कौन सा गैसेस ज्यादा है कितना अमाउंट में है सब अंडर ठीक ठाक है तो सर्टिफिकेट देगा नहीं तो नहीं देगा. So this is the list of approved vendors and PUC equipments are compared by the means there are different types of PUC vendor. This examples ऐसे भी मोबाइल PUC वेंडर भी रहते हैं पेट्रोल पंप में भी रहते हैं किसी किसी में तो ये सारे डीजल पेट्रोल और CO एमिशंस जो भी है आइडियल है कि नहीं चेक करते हैं. नेक्स्ट 4 इज क्लीनर फ्यूल. मैं ऑब्वियसली बताया था कि जो है क्लीनर फ्यूल हाई क्वालिटी ऑफ फ्यूल आल्सो रिड्यूस दिस एमिशंस. In place of using this low quality fuel, we also damage the engine. इंजन का जो है क्वालिटी और इंजन का लाइफ कम हो जाएगा कम लो फ्यूल यूज करने से और हाई फ्यूल यूज करने से इंजन का लाइफ भी बढ़ेगा आपको माइलेज भी ज्यादा देगा and it can be reduce the pollution of the environment. So the fuels used these days have many compounds which cause impurities and this have to keep our car clean and remove the sulfur from the fuel. High quality of premium fuel use करना चाहिए. Most of the fuels are like ethanol, methanol, hydrogen because of this fuel have clean burning. Also nowadays Indian government has blended 20% ethanol to every petrol because ethanol which is a clean fuel as compared to hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbon are the fuel obviously fossil fuel but ethanol is on the fuel which is cleaner than this hydrocarbon. So nowadays it is due to the less availability of this ethanol or due to the engine efficiency because only in ethanol we cannot run the engine. So due to the different factors we are blending 20% by the government. The government has make mandatory 20% ethanol blending which is very much gives low emissions which also means the a good practices to reduce the emissions. Use on lead fuel. Obviously, this previously the lead is mixed in the fuel to reduce the knocking properties, to smooth running of this car vehicles. But nowadays there is no leader is mixed and all lead-free petrols are available. Fifth is reduced driving. Our driving practices, our behavior that also requires very good practices to reduce the emissions. There are different examples. Let's see. Many of us still depend on the fossil fuels and the numbers of cars on the roads are increasing. You are one person, single person, but you have to go 50 kilometers. You can drive with your own car. Similarly, 5, 10 people are there, they are driving by 10 cars and use huge amount of fossil fuel. Instead of you can run with your public transport or different train or metro that can also reduces the emissions in place by going you can also contribute this type of things and by using of electric car somehow government has given subsidy then this also reduces the vehicular emission. So these are the different reducing driving practices, stopping your vehicles in different signals, then traffic signals. So that is also important thing. You also can maintain your vehicle in a proper manner, proper service करना चाहिए vehicles को maintenance तेल डालना चाहिए इंजन ऑयल चेंज करना चाहिए वो सब रहेगा तो इंजन सही रहेगा तो एमिशन भी नहीं होगा ठीक रहेगा. देन मेंटेनेंस टिप्स फॉर व्हीकल क्या क्या मेंटेनेंस कर सकते हैं. ड्राइव मॉडरेटली जैसे कि इकोनॉमी में रहता है, 100 या 120 में ड्राइव करने से भी ज्यादा पेट्रोल यूज होता है, एंड 20-30 में करने से भी ज्यादा पेट्रोल होता है. वी हैव टू ड्राइविंग इन इकोनॉमी मोड, दैट इज 50 to 40 to 50, this is economy mode. Then because of this help reducing the fuel use and pollution emissions, air to fuel ratio जो होता है that can be maintained within the speeds, that's why it is giving highest mileage also and reduce the emissions also. Follow simple vehicle maintenance like regular oil changes, spark plugs replacement and air filter changes, ये regularly करना चाहिए. This will increase the life of the vehicle as well as economy, fuel economy and your mileage and good conditions also. When you start your vehicle, engine car tend to burn more fuel. जैसे कि ठंडी के टाइम में जब कार का जब स्टार्ट होता है तो ज्यादा fuel होता है. Then leave your engine ideal for then 2 minutes. स्टार्ट करने के बाद तुरंत गियर डाल के नहीं चलना चाहिए, थोड़ा सा रुक जाना चाहिए बोल रहे. Then also burn more fuel. So which requires you start the engine, switch off the engine, signal period is more than 1.5 minutes. सिग्नल के टाइम में भी बंद करना चाहिए गाड़ी को. During the summer season, park your car in shaded in a cooler area. This will minimize the evaporation of fuel. पेट्रोल का टंकी से भी fuel evaporate भी हो जाता है, हमने पहले देखा था. तो आपको ठंडी जगह पे गाड़ी खड़े करना चाहिए. Use of electric cars, use of zero emission vehicles such as hybrid car, electric car, that is battery operated car must be used to reduce the vehicular emissions. 8 is awareness and legislation. This is very much important. Creating awareness in public to reducing the pollution problems. What is the vehicular emission? Why it is used? How can be it is reduced? The awareness, people are lack of the awareness. This is very much mostly problems in India. We already see there are different problems in India. Then spreading awareness also reduce the vehicular emissions. At the same time, strict legislative measures also increase this excessive decrease the excessive emissions. रूल रेगुलेशन भी सही से मानना चाहिए और इंडिया में वो मानते नहीं है. So next, what are the steps taken to control the vehicular emission by CPCB? This is the different methods how to control. There are 8 different methods how to control this air vehicular pollution. Now, Central Pollution Control Board under Vehicle Act 1890-89, they have also take some steps towards to control the vehicular emission. Now आप तो दिल्ली में रहते हैं, जानते हैं, जैसे ऑड इवन वाला हो गया, वो जैसे कि एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स को देख के जो होता है, ये सारी चीजें. So these are the different steps taken by the Central Pollution Control Board. So what are the steps? Establishment of ambient air quality monitoring throughout the India. Air quality monitoring, because this air quality is also mostly depends due to this vehicle emissions. जहाँ पे ज्यादा ट्रैफिक है वहाँ पे एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स बहुत खराब है. तो ये मॉनिटरिंग एयर क्वालिटी मॉनिटरिंग सिस्टम रखना है जो जहाँ पे सिटीज है, मेजर सिटीज में. नोटिफिकेशन ऑफ एयर क्वालिटी स्टैंडर्ड्स अंडर एनवायरमेंट प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट. एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट के अंडर में जो क्वालिटी स्टैंडर्ड्स है, NAQS, रिमेंबर व्हाट इज द डिफरेंट एयर पोल्यूशन लेवल which is provided by this SO2 क्या लेवल है, NO2 का क्या है, PM10 का क्या है. there is different tables is there, if you remember. Then this air quality NAQS, national ambient air quality standards, ये standards को follow करना चाहिए and that is given by the CPCB. Then notification of vehicular emission norms 1986 2001. ये देखिए बहुत जगह पे ये व्हीकल जो एमिशन है कब क्या सर्टिफिकेट चाहिए, कौन सा बी, अभी जैसे कि लागू हुआ है BS6 इंजन नहीं चलना है, उससे कम वाला इंजन नहीं चलेगा. तो ये भी सारे चीजें दिस इज द enforced by this CPCB. Improvement fuel quality, phasing out leaded to unleaded fuel like diesel, sulfur, reducing benzene etc. पहले लीडर फ्यूल आता था, अभी लीडर फ्यूल नहीं आता है बिकॉज ड्यू टू दिस स्ट्रिक्ट रेगुलेशन ऑफ दिस गवर्नमेंट. ऑन लीडर फ्यूल आता है. सिमिलरली दिस रिड्यूसिंग सल्फर फॉर डीजल, ये सारे भी उसका भी नॉर्म्स रहता है. तो ये सारी चीजें दैट कैन बी डिसाइडेड बाय द CPCB. इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ अल्टरनेट व्हीकल्स लाइक CNG LPG. अभी CNG व्हीकल चल रहा है बिकॉज इन कंपैरिजन टू CNG and the petrol having high emissions, CNG having low emissions. Petrol having low average, CNG having high average. High average, that means complete combustion takes place. Low average means पूरा बर्न नहीं हुआ और ज्यादा उड़ के चला गया और एग्जस्ट में आ गया. So that is the difference. So economically also CNG is more viable than this petrol engine. This is mainly due to gaseous hydrocarbons are small chain hydrocarbon. which can easily combustible, and the liquid hydrocarbons are long chain hydrocarbon as compared to the gaseous. That's why CNG having high economy, fuel economy as well as low emissions as compared to the petrol and diesel. जैसे कि पेट्रोल एंड डीजल में कंपेयर करेंगे तो पेट्रोल बेटर है डीजल से, बिकॉज डीजल का जो एमिशन से हाई है, पेट्रोल का कम है एज कम्पेयर टू दोनों. देन इम्प्रूवमेंट ऑफ पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम, गाड़ी जो प्रॉपर 10 मिनट में एक गाड़ी आना चाहिए, सिटी बस चलता है, मेट्रो चलता है, दीज आर ऑल्सो हैविंग. फेजिंग आउट ऑफ ग्लोसरी पॉल्यूटिंग कमर्शियल व्हीकल्स, ग्रोसली पॉल्यूटिंग कमर्शियल व्हीकल्स, कोई देखना जो बड़े बड़े ट्रक चलता है वो बहुत से ज्यादा पॉल्यूशन क्रिएट करते हैं. इस टाइप का जो व्हीकल्स है उसको बैन करना है, सीज करना है. दिस ऑल्सो डन. देन पब्लिक अवेयरनेस एंड कैंपेनिंग, बीच बीच में ऐसे एडवर्टाइजमेंट डालेंगे, रोड शो करेंगे, ट्रैफिक रूल्स मानने के लिए बोलेंगे, अवेयरनेस स्प्रेड करना है. तो ये सारे दीज आर स्टेप्स टेकन बाय दिस गवर्नमेंट अंडर दिस सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड. See, this is the campaign. Avoid girlfriends, it saves 90% of petrol. This is one joke type of things. That means uh, there are different, some hoardings you have seen that better late than never. There are also different motivation quotas are also there. This is spreading awareness. And this Motor Vehicle Act or air pollutions are directly related to this vehicular pollution. So this Air Pollution Act is enforced in this vehicular emissions. So in the Constitution of India clearly stated that the duty of the state to protect the improve the environment and safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. This is the clearly stated by the Constitution of India. इंडिया संविधान में ये लिखा है, ये हर एक स्टेट और कंट्री का अपना दायित्व है कि खुद का एनवायरमेंट को सेव करे. It imposes a duty on every citizen to protect important natural environmental forest, lakes, rivers, wildlife. दो इंपोर्टेंट चीजें है, एक तो बोले कंट्री का खुद का रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, एंड दूसरा ऑल रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी गोज टू एवरी सिटीजन. मीन्स हर एक नागरिक का भी दायित्व है करते हुए कि अपना खुद का एनवायरमेंट, फॉरेस्ट, लाइफ, वाइल्ड लाइफ सबको प्रोटेक्ट करे. सो दिस टू थिंग्स आर मेंटेन इन आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इंडिया अंडर आर्टिकल 21. So what are the laws enforced by these pollution control boards? Different laws are enforced. The central and state pollution control boards were set up to enforcement the Water Prevention Control Act 74. The over the years board and design these things, and Air Pollution Control Act 1981. ये वाटर बात इसलिए बोल रहा है बिकॉज ड्यू टू दिस वाटर पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल एक्ट द सीपीसीबी फॉर्म. तो सीपीसीबी जो फॉर्म हुआ है ये उसी टाइम पे फॉर्म हुआ था. देन एनवायरमेंट प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट 1986, ये ओवरऑल वाइल्ड लाइफ, फॉरेस्ट, सारे एनवायरमेंट की बात बोलते हैं, तो इसमें ऑटोमेटिकली एयर वाटर इंक्लूड हो जाते हैं. देन हाजार्डियस वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट हैंडलिंग रूल्स 1989, ये भी डिफरेंट रूल्स है. हाजार्डियस जैसे कि केमिकल्स हो गया, वो कैसे स्टोर करना है, कैसे डिस्पोज करना है, ये सारे देते हैं. मैन्युफैक्चर स्टोरेज इंपोर्ट हाजार्डियस केमिकल्स रूल 1989. बायोमेडिकल वेस्टेज मैनेजमेंट 1998. म्युनिसिपल सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट 2000. प्लास्टिक वेस्ट रूल 1999. पोस्टल रेगुलेशन रूल 1981. Public liability insurance 1998 91. These are the different rules, regulations given by this Central Pollution Control Board, because it is first form along with this Water Pollution Control Act. पहले ये फॉर्म हुआ, फिर बाद में सारे धीरे धीरे आने लगे. वाटर एक्ट इंट्रोड्यूस 1974. अंडर ऑफ दिस पोल्यूशन वर नॉट कवर. सो धीरे धीरे क्या करिए, एआर निकला, फिर सब, बिकॉज देयर आर ह्यूज एरिया व्हिच कैन नॉट कवर इन दिस वन सिंगल रूल्स. तो धीरे धीरे जैसे कि दिन बढ़ता गया अपने आप एक रूल बनाते गए. So air pollution means the solid, liquid, gaseous substance present in atmosphere and which may be lead to human injurious or living organisms. ये pollution का definition है, because the vehicular emissions are a part of this air pollution. Constitution of boards, a state board under the constitution following the 70 members, full time members. ये जो सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड है उसका कैसे फॉर्म होता है, सारी चीजें है यहाँ पे. फुल टाइम, पार्ट टाइम चेयरमैन रहते हैं, 5 ऑफिशियल मेंबर्स जो गवर्नमेंट रहते हैं, 5 पर्सन रिप्रेजेंटिंग लोकल अथॉरिटीज एंड नॉन ऑफिशियल मेंबर्स, एनजीओ से भी कुछ लोग रहते हैं, 2 पर्सन रिप्रेजेंटिंग कंपनीज, कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर से भी कुछ लोग रहते हैं, because all peoples are represent their own view. A full-time member secretary, these are the different members, how these 17 members are formed in the CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board. सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड क्या काम करता है? एडवाइज द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट मैटर्स रिलेटिंग टू पोल्यूशन, कोऑर्डिनेट एक्टिविटी ऑफ द स्टेट बोर्ड्स, ये सारे स्टेट कंट्रोल बोर्ड, पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड को ऑपरेट करता है, हेड है सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड। प्रोवाइड टेक्निकल असिस्टेंट टू स्टेट बोर्ड्स, कैरी आउट डिफरेंट इन्वेस्टिगेशन, plan organize these personnels, collecting compile the technical and statistical data, lay down the standards, different standards, for example a national ambient air quality standards given by the Central Pollution Control Board in 2009. Then the plan nationwide program pollution control board का different planning करेगा। function of state, तो सो स्टेट पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड क्या है, हर एक स्टेट में रहता है, नेशनल का टोटल ऑल इंडिया के में देखता है, तो उसका भी काम है स्टेट वाइज सारे पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल करना, डिफरेंट कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर इंडस्ट्री में चेकआउट करना, डिफरेंट इश्यूज में रिजॉल्व करना है, सारी चीजें देखते हैं। If some in companies or some does not obey these rules, then some penalties are also imposed at the time. A person found guilty under this act, any act, is less than 1.5 years, which is may be exposed to 6 years and additional of 5,000 for every during failure. ये उसका चार्ज पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है अभी। So these are the different points which can be covered during the Motor Vehicle Acts and the Air Pollution Act, which are bothly combined vehicular emissions or vehicles related emissions, vehicular emissions, they call it vehicular emissions. So this is all, and ये इसमें आते हैं जैसे कि एयर प्रिवेंटेशन कंट्रोल एक्ट, pollution due to automobiles and control of automobile exhaust emissions, air pollution control act, सारे इसमें आएंगे। due to this air pollution is the part of this vehicular pollution, that's why it is given. So important questions यहाँ पे ये हो सकता है कि what are the different pollutant emitted by these vehicular emissions, then what are the different control methods of air pollution, sorry vehicular pollution, जो 8 methods हैं, and finally what is the status of this vehicular emission in the India, this is another questions. So these are the 3 major questions maybe arises in this vehicular emissions.
Okay, sir.
Any questions?
No, sir. Thank you.
चलिए गुड नाइट।
Good
और एक
night,
दो
sir.
क्लास में
Okay,
हो
thank
जाएगा
you.
खत्म, वो देखते हैं अगले वीक में।
सर मटेरियल भेज दीजिएगा सर। ओके,
क्या
थैंक यू
क्या?
सर। मटेरियल
हाँ हाँ मटेरियल, सॉरी मैं अभी भेजता हूँ, अभी अभी आपको देता हूँ।
ओके सर, थैंक
ओके।
यू।